Okay, I guess we'll go live now then. I think we're live.
Yay!
I think we are live.
We're live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Final Fantasy Chat. It looks like there's quite a few of you guys in the room already, which is pretty awesome. 28 according to
Wow.
according to what I'm seeing.
Hi, everybody.
Some people here early as well because we actually remembered to promote it before it started.
Go us.
I know, we're so professional. We have actually been again having some problems with our camera, so if we disappear
We
again,
did charge it.
we did charge. It's
it
not.
this
Yeah, it's not a
time.
charge problem. It just seems to be turning off.
Yeah.
It just seems to happen,
Mhm.
which is great. So yeah, if we disappear again, I'll just put up another placeholder image and we'll kind of roll with it.
Mhm.
But yeah, how is everyone? There's quite a lot of you in it this time, apart from last time where I forgot to list it and make it public,
I know.
which was good.
You actually did make it live this time, right?
Yes, well,
Good.
we've got 50 people in now.
Yes.
So I guess we should kick things off. Today's topic is Final Fantasy 15, specifically Tabata's Final Fantasy 15.
Mhm.
It's obviously white square on my face. White square on my face.
You're targeted.
I'm targeted. Goodbye, white square on my face. Hopefully you are now gone.
There you
Okay, so you're gonna left ear. There's a problem with that as well. Properties.
Daryl's honestly so unprofessional. Look, I'm eating. I'm so unprofessional.
No,
as
wait.
well.
I remember there was. I actually don't know how to fix that. Can I?
We didn't have that problem before, did we?
No, we did. I remember last time.
Mm.
Oh wait, I don't know if that fixed the left-hand ear thing. If it didn't, then I'm sorry. It will have to be fixed next time.
Hello, Yosef.
Yeah. So, Final Fantasy 15, Hajime Tabata. So yeah, as I said, we've been thinking about this a little bit actually recently because we've obviously been doing different videos about Final Fantasy 15 for a while now, and it's one of those things where we never really know what happened behind the scenes. But what we do know is that things changed quite significantly over the period of development time, 10 years, obviously.
Yeah.
A
A lot can change.
a lot can change in 10 years.
That's what I do best.
So it got me thinking, like, are there any of the previous iterations of the game that we know about that I would have preferred, or is kind of the one that we ended up with, did that meet with my expectations or not? And I don't know about you guys, but like are there any? Obviously, we knew different parts about Versus 13 throughout its development. From obviously when it was originally announced, they kind of had little bits. They had different character announcements. But we never really knew too much, and then obviously they came out that the game was only ever about 20% complete. They were changing the storyline every 3 months.
To be honest, I don't think they had a lot done.
But it's obviously they had a big plan.
Yeah,
like,
they had like a plan.
They didn't
but
necessarily
I don't know
have.
if they had like enough done to be like, all right, this is exactly what it was going to be. Because I mean, the rumor mill says that like Nomura was constantly going back and forth on ideas and constantly changing things, which kind of makes sense because he is very much a perfectionist. Like, he's very much I need this to be like absolutely perfect. And being that this is like his first Final Fantasy game that he was in charge of, he probably was just like, this has to be crap hot. Because, I mean, you think about the fact that the guy's been working on Final Fantasy games since about Final Fantasy V.
Yep.
And this was like his first baby. So he wanted to get it right and live up to the name, probably.
I mean, when I was doing the Type 0 stuff, it just kind of seemed systematic of what Square was going through at the time. They announced Final Fantasy 13. They wanted to announce these other games as well, so they announced Versus 13, Agatha 13, and they didn't actually have any plan to work on them. Like, they didn't really have. I mean, like, Tabata went on record a couple of years after saying that when they announced Agatha 13, they pretty much just had one image. They had a piece of concept art. That was the game. And like it was basically just him. Bearing in mind that he was also working as the director on Crisis Core and all this other stuff. He was just working on Agito 13 kind of by himself for about 2 years.
Just shove him in a corner.
Yeah, basically he was the only person keeping that project alive. And
what's Tabata doing over there? Oh, he's just working on his own stuff.
He's just trying to work on his own game while also doing all this other stuff. And I'm sure it's like that's probably how Nomura was as well. Like in those early Versus 13 days, I can't imagine that there were too many people actually working on it. It was probably just him kind of running around ideas and stuff. But the problem with Nomura is that he's involved with everything. And obviously he's the creative producer on the Final Fantasy brand, as far as I'm aware. Like, so he's involved in most things that kind of filter through. Yeah. So although like the Versus 13 story was like, as far as we're aware, like really complicated and crafted, and there's that whole rumor that like the leak that came out about it's going to be 4 games, and there's all this massive narrative. But like there was so much of it that was just not anything tangible. Yeah. And I mean, when I look back at the Versus 13 stuff, I mean, personally, I was never too bothered about the game because it was a spin-off. It was going to be completely different. It was pretty much, I don't know, advertised as the kind of Final Fantasy meets Kingdom Hearts the other way around. Like it's going to be this whole action game thing, which obviously at the time, you have to remember at 2006 when this was announced, action was very much not a part of Final Fantasy. It was completely, I could deal with it as a spin-off, just as the same way I could deal with like Dirge of Cerberus being that, or I could deal with
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, or like other games that they've worked on, like Bushido Blade, The Bouncer. I can tolerate these experiments as kind of spin-off things. But Versus 13, like I never really paid too much attention to because 13 was like the main game that they were working on. When 13 came out, I think Versus 13 became more in the limelight because there was no other game after that. They'd announced 14, but there was no 15. So the next other big game was Versus, but we never heard anything about it.
If I can interject, the Sphere Hunter. I was probably the opposite. I was so in love with Final Fantasy Versus 13. I was more excited for Final Fantasy Versus 13 than I was Final Fantasy 13 because at the time I was completely sold on Nomura. I drank the juice. I was less like, give me all of your freaking zippers and belts. I just want a Nomura game. Like, because I loved Kingdom Hearts. I loved the original so much. And this just seemed like such a gritty tale. And I really liked the characters. I loved the trailer with Noctis walking down with all the freaking blades all around him. And there was so much emotion and angst. And perhaps it was partially because I was going through my teenage angst as well. I was just like, oh my god, I need this game right now. And then, but at the time, I wasn't a huge, like, video game news aficionado. Like, I really wasn't paying too much attention. I had never watched an E3 at this point. I wasn't too involved with everything that was going on with behind the scenes stuff. So, like, I didn't watch any of the updated trailers or anything like that. I just kind of knew from the initial thing. And I also didn't want to spoil it for myself too much. But I'm not much of a trailer person anyway. But, like, I just remember being really excited for Versus 13. And then kind of forgetting about it because everything else was coming out.
It just kind of just disappeared. And we'd get, like, little snippets here and there of, like, oh, there's a new trailer, there's a new piece of information. Nomura said he's going to do something at some point. Because I remember I went to TGS in 2009. And they showed off Versus 13 in the closed mega theater. And bearing in mind, this is over 3 years after the game was announced, and they didn't have anything to show. They basically just had Noctis. No, they were using, like, I think it was Grand Pulse from 13, and they were using it to showcase animations. They had like Noctis' facial animations being shown, and I get that they were just trying to show that something was going on, but I remember writing an article about it at the time, just how annoyed I was about the fact that they were like 3.5 years in development, and they basically were just showing off this stupid tech demo, which, like, I don't have necessarily a problem with tech demos because, like, the Final Fantasy VII tech demo was great, the Final Fantasy VI tech demo was great, But like this one was just like they basically just put Noctis in the world of 13 and showed off some facial animations.
Yeah.
It's like, great, what is the point of this? Actually show me something decent. Show me a new trailer that isn't just rehashed old trailers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really got too invested in anything, but I know that people did because we used to hold the character battles and Noctis would win them even though he wasn't a character that actually existed.
Like how he beat freaking Cloud, like how does that happen? And we were just we were trumped. Yeah, we were just like, okay, this is like Noctis can't win, like this is laughable, and then all of a sudden it was just like boom, he won. What? But yeah. Anyways,
but yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people talking about the fact that they would have liked the Versus Dark tone, and I do agree with that. But I think the problem that they had was that, and I don't know if it's a problem, maybe they just kind of overthought it. But obviously Versus 13 was a spin-off. They were able to take some liberties with it. They were able to experiment with things. And I think it was Katazi who was talking about the fact that when they decided to make Versus 13 a main series game, they kind of had to just take away that, like they had to put the shackles back on and just kind of protect it a little bit. They couldn't be too edgy. They couldn't take too many risks because there was like, if it fails, then this is a really bad thing. Whereas if Versus 13 doesn't do as well, it's an experiment. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal.
But that's the thing that's such a shame, because like I think if it had stayed Versus 13, people would have been happier with the game. Maybe.
I think that
they have allowed them to just sort of trust their gut and make the game that they wanted to make.
I think it's that if it would, like, I mean, this, like all you guys who are listening, I'm sure that if Versus 13 had stayed how it was and they plowed through with that, you guys would have been probably really happy with it. But the problem is that there's a load of people that had no idea what Versus 13 was, and then they only became interested in the game when it became 15.
Final Fantasy 15. But there they should have kept some of the story.
This is my major gripe with the whole thing, like the whole problem with Versus 13. Everything that happened, I don't care about the fact they rebranded it. I don't care about the fact it took 10 years. I don't really care about the fact that they changed things too much. What I do care about, and tell me if I'm wrong with this, but when they announced the rebrand from Versus 13 to 15, they showed off a big trailer, right?
Yeah.
It had Stella in there. There was loads of stuff shown. It was with the big Leviathan fight was shown off. Like they had all this stuff.
Well, they had Luna, not Stella. Well, they had Luna. No, Stella. And
Luna was after. I'm pretty sure that Luna was shown after.
Either way.
But in the first big trailer they had for Final Fantasy 15, it was still like the big Leviathan fight where he's like walking around everywhere. It's all that great stuff with going through the building, like all this stuff. That is the trailer that ruined things for me, because that was the one where they're saying, this is Final Fantasy 15, this is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And then like a year later they're like, oh, actually no, we're changing our minds, this is the cuts. Like, I don't have a problem with the change, it's just that they should have made the changes before they announced the game was changing.
Yeah, no,
like
definitely.
Why they were working on it for before they announced it as Final Fantasy 15 for like a year or at least 2 years. Why couldn't they have made these decisions before they rebranded to 15?
Yeah.
Because when they said that Stella was going to be in 15.
But then that was the problem, wasn't it? The problem was that they were porting it all to PlayStation 4, weren't they? And I think a lot of the stuff wasn't able to port. At least that's what I seem to remember that happened. Like there were so many things that they had to sort of cut just because of one time, and two, because it just didn't work with the stuff that they were doing, like the swimming mechanics and stuff. I guess.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like it was E3 2013, right? The PS4 is very much on the horizon at that point.
Thank you, Rachel. My friend Lauren made it for me. Go to her Etsy.com. It's Vintage Aerith. She made it for me for my birthday.
That's the advert there.
Yeah, I have to.
But yeah, it was like they knew that they were going to be moving console. So why did they show off all this footage from a game like that was never going to exist? I guess because they
needed to do something.
It's like, I know that Ubisoft are pretty bad at it when they show off these like amazing demos where they're pre-scripted and all this stuff, and there's so many videos of Ubisoft not matching expectation.
Yeah.
But with 15, like, why did they have to show Stella in that trailer when they knew she was probably going to be cut?
It was Luna. Everybody's saying it's Luna.
No, everyone's saying that Luna was shown in TGS 2014.
Oh, okay.
Stella was in E3 2013.
I saw somebody who was Luna. I saw somebody who agreed with me. Anyways, but yeah, no. I mean, like, I understand, but I guess like maybe they were just pressured into showing something.
I'm not trying to apportion blame on anyone here.
No.
But I think as a collective,
if you think that was probably the biggest issue,
that's the kind of thing. When I think back to the game that it could have been, that's the thing where I'm like, I would have preferred that Leviathan fight. Like, there's no way around it. Like, and like other stuff they shown, like the Dawn trailer, I would have preferred like those kind of scenes were in the game, that we actually had the ability to see the relationship between Regis and Noctis grow, which they just didn't put in. Like, there's scenes that they showed that they just didn't actually put in the game.
Yeah,
that's the stuff where it didn't meet my expectations.
Yeah,
everything else I'm perfectly fine with. I wasn't too bothered. Like, the gameplay is decent. Like, it's probably not my favorite system.
Yeah,
but you know, it's okay. You can cheese it.
Yeah,
you really can if you want to. Just spam potions every day. All
yeah.
day. But you know, it's the stuff where they were like, yeah, no, this is what it is now. This is Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
This is what you've got to look forward to. A year later or 2 years later, it's like, oh no, actually.
My problem is that like there wasn't like Kingsglaive. Okay, so you think about Kingsglaive, like how gorgeous Kingsglaive was, and the fact that they had like, maybe I could count on one hand how many FMVs they had in Final Fantasy 15. Like, what? Like, I was just so angry about that, because FMVs are something that I've always loved about Final Fantasy games. Like, I've always loved the really, really big cinematics. I love the ones in Final Fantasy 13, especially when they launched in Eden. Like, that was just amazing. But like 15 had like one big one, and I won't like spoil anything, and that was gorgeous. And then they didn't actually do anything else.
No, they had a couple.
They had a couple, and it was just kind of like, okay. Even like the really big scenes, the really big things that happen, no FMVs. And I was just like, you know, why waste all of your freaking resources on Kingsglaive on a movie that makes no sense and is essentially just fade to black? Why would you do that and not focus on the game, on the actual thing that people are going to buy?
Also, I mean, with the film, they created this whole other cast of characters that basically don't exist. It's like, okay, you've made Nyx, you've made Glauca, you've made Libertas, you've made Crow, like, you've built all these people up. Yeah. And then it's like, well, we're just not gonna do anything with any of them.
Oh, that was so unorganized. And like, just the fact that, you know, across properties, like, it's fair enough if you want to make like cross properties, like, I'm absolutely fine with that, but actually, like, talk to each other, like, actually get the facts right between the properties. Like, Brotherhood is the only one that actually like matches up to
and you
Final
know why?
Fantasy 15.
It's because what's his name? It was like the PR manager who's basically with Tabata 24/7.
Yeah.
Fuji-san. Yeah, Fuji-san came up with Brotherhood. Yeah. So like, it makes sense that those kind of meshed. Whereas Nezure, I guess they worked together, but it's like, it just seemed like there wasn't really a coherence between.
No, and like, that was just such a shame, because like, it just seemed like Nezure was making like his own film. The film
who's Jared? How do you not know who Jared is? I'm joking here, obviously. Jared is just like, you know, the thing that annoyed me about Jared is that I assume we're talking about Jared in Final Fantasy 15 here.
Yeah.
That they cared more about what happened to him than they did like their dad.
Yeah.
Like, I still can't get over that. Oh man.
But yeah, no, Glauca is like the biggest thing that I am upset about with Final Fantasy 15 as well. Having him in the first 5 seconds of the game doesn't cut it.
No.
And also, I mean, Aranea as well, like.
Anyway, right. So basically, I have a lot of respect for Tabata. I think that given everything he's had to deal with, and a lot of I think a lot of people are really quick to judge him based on kind of the end result or whatever happens. And obviously he's able to front up to that. He said during numerous active time reports, if Final Fantasy 15 doesn't achieve what it needs to achieve, then he's going to take the flak for it, because he's the one that's always stepped up for Square.
Yeah.
He's always stepped up, and he's had some really tough deals to run with.
He's basically cleaning up after everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame, because I think he is a really talented director, and he has shown that with Crisis Core and even Type 0. And it almost kind of feels like Square Enix are trying to F him over any chance they get. It's just oh, well, we can just pin it on Tabata. It's fine. Final Fantasy 15 is a wreck. All right, let's just give it to Tabata. I mean, he cleans up after us. Type 0, it needs to be ported to PS4. Okay, well, it might not actually work. While you're also
working on 15.
While you're also working on 15, and it's not actually a handheld game.
And you also need to develop Agato at the same time.
Yeah. Give the guy a break.
To be fair, that was his idea.
To be honest, I cannot blame the man for not wanting to do another Final Fantasy game in the.
I think you have to remember, Hugo, when you're saying you don't like Tabata's games from a gameplay level, a story level is obviously one thing, but from a gameplay level, Braden, correct me if I'm wrong here, but as far as I'm aware, Tabata is BD2 are. Their mandate is to make more action orientated Final Fantasy games. That's what their role is. Katase's group is with Toriyama and Nomura. Sorry, not Nomura. But they're in charge of the turn-based stuff. They're supposed to be driving that forward, whereas Tabata is more about driving forward the action-based stuff. So that's why he was in charge of Crisis Core being more action-orientated, The Third Birthday, Type 0's got an action-orientated, and Final Fantasy 15 as well. Bye, Sue. But yeah, that's Tabata. It's a different type of thing. It's obviously your expectation is that he's going to make games that you enjoy.
Yeah.
But he's a handheld console developer.
Yeah.
And Crisis Core, everyone seems to really like. I don't have people problem with that.
And Type 0 was well regarded when it was released originally in Japan for the PSP. It was one of the best games of all time. Hence why we fought so much for it to come over.
I think, obviously, who said that? Noctis Fon Zero. Tabata wasn't the man for the job, but it's who was then? Who else could you have envisioned would have been able to step up and deliver Final Fantasy 15? And I say just deliver Final Fantasy 15 because, Nomura is a great guy. He's really, really talented, but he just struggles to get stuff out. Kingdom Hearts 3 is what now been in, was that 2006 no, when was that announced?
The original one?
No, Kingdom Hearts 3. No, it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the 2006.
No, that's Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
But he's got two big games going on at the moment, both of which just they could come out whenever.
Yeah, they're really short staffed in terms of the big names that they can use. And I don't know if that's primarily just because Square Enix is very protective of their brand or they just don't have it. But if you think about the three big players, the big players that they have at the moment, you can count on one hand how many directors that they have.
They have a lot of people that would be willing to do it.
But they don't trust them.
But it's such a large responsibility.
It is.
Even
they're
Tabata,
very, very protective.
He was essentially, I wouldn't say career suicide, but he'd gone from developing, he was kind of the company's go-to guy for developing PSP games. Yeah. And then he decided that he was going to put his name forward. Well, I don't know if he necessarily decided. It was probably decided for him.
Yeah.
That he was going to work on it, and then he kind of just carried on rising and rising and rising. But, going from working on a PSP game to working on a PS4 game is crazy.
Not only that, but making a Western RPG as well, which is a huge undertaking. I think that was also part of the issue that I felt with Final Fantasy 15 and where they kind of faltered is that Square Enix weren't weren't focused on producing something that that they were used to producing. They weren't doing like a Persona 5 type route where they were producing a game that they knew how to produce. They were pushing the boundaries with this game in an effort. Like, it was really a huge risk for them because like they aren't very used to making Western RPGs in themselves. And like, you know, they were just doing a big ask to try and make a Western RPG Final Fantasy game. And it's just like, why didn't they just play it simple? Like, why didn't they... Like, they were trying so hard to reach a vaster audience, and that's fine. But, like, I just feel like they punched above their weight.
To be honest, I'm really curious to see what they do next from here because, I mean, Tabata's obviously gone on record saying that he doesn't want to do another Final Fantasy game. And he is the action, like, division.
Yeah.
So, like, who's going to do it?
Hi, Satria. Sorry, my words were not working.
Hello. I don't really understand. Like, I don't get what they're gonna. I mean, people are saying like the difference between Nomura and Tabata, and like it's clear. Obviously, Tabata is the head of BD2. Like, he's a director, but he's a producer. He's like the overarching guy in charge of what that division does. So what he says goes. Nomura isn't really in the same position. Like, he's not the head of a division as far as I'm aware. Like, Kitase is obviously in charge of one and Hashimoto is in charge of the other. So like, it's I wouldn't necessarily blame Nomura for what's happening. Like, he kind of just has to do what he's told. And obviously at the moment, when I looked it up last year, it was like he was obviously working on World of Final Fantasy. He was working on Dissidia Arcade. He's working on Dissidia Opera Omnia. He's obviously got Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy VII.
He has his hand in pretty much everything. And then, like, that's not even the half of it. He's also involved with the merchandising. Yeah, all the
merchandising.
Like, if the merchandising stuff, he designs them. He's the one who goes in and has to give the final say of whether or not it's good. And he's having to do, like,
designs for all these, like, random games
that
they're working on.
He probably is, like, their brand manager, essentially. Like, on top of everything else he does, he is Square Enix, like, completely. So, could he have actually done Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy Versus 13? Probably not, because he's just too flat out busy. But I think now with the Final Fantasy VII remake, I feel like he's kind of relinquished some of the responsibilities with Kingdom Hearts, because I mean, Tai Yasui is really doing a lot for that now to help.
Yep.
So at least that's kind of off of his shoulders a bit. And there's not really a lot of other games on the horizon that really require his assistance, aside from maybe like Dissidia, but that's pretty much like they're using his designs.
Not that I want to start drama here, Nero, but like what's your evidence to say that Nomura knows how to make good games?
Yeah, he actually doesn't have much of a qualification.
Well, like the Kingdom Hearts games are, well, I guess good. They're good. They're not great. They're not like masterpieces or anything.
No.
He's worked on some games.
They're really convoluted.
Like, he's obviously worked on as a designer and in like terms of developing the games behind the scenes. Obviously, he had a big role in the story of Final Fantasy VII. Like, and obviously Final Fantasy VIII as well. Yeah. Like, he's worked with why am I blanking on his name? Najima a lot on the stories and things, but like in terms of like directorship, his games are like, they're decent.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
But he's not like the greatest.
Like, I don't remember Kingdom Hearts games ever really getting put up for Game of the Years or
To be honest, I don't think Nomura would be anything without like Najima backing him up on story and Kitase as director. Or even Toriyama as director, because I liked him for Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy 13's a bit blah. But no, Kingdom Hearts is a difficult one, because I honestly, like, I was a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, but I've lost the glimmer because...
You've lost your way.
I've lost my glimmer because... It is really ridiculously convoluted, and I hate the whole Organization 13. I hate when people make stories complicated just for the sake of making them complicated. Like, nobody's, somebody's, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, shut up. Just give me Star Wars, and I'm happy. Just give me simplicity. Like, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy. Not, this is the bad guy, and here are his 20 other forms.
Just give Laura an avatar.
Just, here are his 50 million forms, and you don't know which one is coming at you. It's Xemnas. No, it's Terranort. No, it's just X. And it's just like, okay, just calm yourself. Calm yourself down. You know? Sorry.
Are you done?
I think I'm done.
Okay.
But I like the first Kingdom Hearts. I thought that was very simple. I thought that was clean cut. I thought that was a wonderful game. But once they started adding X's, then I was just like, all right, I'm out. Bye. Peace.
Honestly, so Jakob, just ask my Final Fantasy Dream Team. This is going to sound quite weird based on the entire conversation we've just had. My Final Fantasy Dream Team would honestly be Tabata as the executive producer, kind of the overall person making sure things get done, and Nomura's director, because those guys have actually worked together a lot throughout Square. Like, I know that in like the way that things have gone, it seems like they don't like each other, but the decisions that have happened haven't been anything to do with them, as far as I'm aware. Like, they have worked together on a lot of stuff. The compilation was basically conceived by the two of them. So like those two as actually working together would probably be my dream team, because then you get Nomura's creativity combined with Tabata's we're going to get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly. They would be like a really great team together. And then Ishimoto for music, because I really like his music. Oh no.
Damn it, camera. You did so well.
It did so well for so long.
You did so well. We'll be back soon, hopefully. But look, we should probably start thinking about...
Yeah, thinking about heading out anyway, because it's getting quite late. And, Winkle Gaming, that's so funny. It was simple and clean. It was, though. It was a great game. I love Kingdom Hearts 1. I think that that's perfect. But I just... After that, I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. Chain of Memories just blew me right out.
DJ Cool Kid, I would kind of disagree with you there, saying Nomura's games are held in high regard, because when Type 0 came out in Japan, they loved that game.
It was so good.
Look
it up.
It sold. Now, Braden and I have some conflicts here, but in its release year, Type 0 outsold. Type 0 outsold at 13.2. Like, it did well. I can't remember what Famitsu score it got, but I think it got a really good score. The problem is that like we got Type 0 HD, which is a port from a PSP game on the next console generation. It came out when did it come out? Like years after. Years. It wasn't ever designed for the PS4. And like Tabata, like the third birthday, Crisis Core, I'd say has been extremely well. It's one of the best-selling PSP games,
when that
the
came
highest
out,
critically
that's
acclaimed.
all anybody could ever talk about, and it was just Zack everywhere, Zack all over the place. Like that was a really.
But it's like arguing
game.
about like
I know.
your favorite child
it's
here.
True.
It's like
true.
you know,
it is an opinion-based thing.
I can't sit here and say that Crisis Core is better than Kingdom Hearts 1 or 2 because like it's apples and oranges.
Completely.
Like they're. I mean.
And it's even saying comparing them to a Final Fantasy game, because they're completely different to even the main games. But anyways, I'm sorry. I might have really upset people with my
It doesn't look like it, Lauren. It looks like you're in the clear.
Kingdom Hearts.
You're in the clear, Lawrence.
I just it's the Tyra Banks thing again, and if you haven't looked it up since last week, it's like, well, we believed in you. We all rooted for you. How could you?
This is going to sound really strange, but I just want to see what a Tabata game looks like, where he actually has control from start to finish.
I know.
Because, believe it or not, he's never actually had that opportunity, apart from, I think, maybe before Crisis. Maybe before Crisis.
Yeah.
Because every other game, it's actually
and
been...
nobody got to see it because it was on one cell phone.
Every other game, it's pretty much been kind of someone coming to him with a concept. Like, he's come up with some of the concepts, but he has a lot of stuff that's kind of he's asked to do or he's told to do, and like I think that with Final Fantasy 15, he took a big risk from a career perspective, and it paid off. It sold. He over delivered on what they were expecting. So now he has the ability to kind of make what he wants to make.
Yeah.
Just like and Square, like under Matsuda versus under Wada, Square seemed like a much nicer company.
Yeah, they do.
Because I mean, all you've got to do is look at Yusuke Saito, and he.
Granted, there's a lot of mobile games.
There are a lot of mobile games.
There's a lot of mobile games.
They're kind of
but
toning
that's
down a little
because
bit.
they're really popular in Japan. Yeah, they've kind of found the ones that they.
But like, you know, if you look at Yusuke Saito, he worked on Nier, and he was originally part of Kaguya, working with Teriyoko, and they made Nier. It's a hidden gem. Like, if you haven't played Nier, that's probably one of the games I would definitely recommend you play. Some people don't get on with it because the gameplay and the graphics are a bit weird.
Yeah.
But
it's easy. It's fine. You have to just dodge balls. That sounds really wrong.
Yeah.
But you just dodge balls.
Orbs. Flying orbs.
Flying orbs. Sparkly balls of death.
But yeah, anyway. So my point is that like they committed to Nier. It didn't really pan out. And so Yosuke Saito went away and worked on some Dragon Quest games and other stuff. Like, he delivered on those games. So Square kind of went to him and said, like, if you really want to make a new Nier game, then like you've done what we asked for you, so just go for it. And we're gonna support you more than we did last time, and obviously the way it worked out, the Platinum Games actually really liked Nier, and they were actually they were going to make a proposal to Square to say we want to do a new Nier game, and then Square went to them saying we want to work with you on a game, and they were like, well, we want to do this and we want to do that.
It was just a match made in heaven.
It was a match made in heaven. But my point is that under Matsuda, it seems to be more like, if you deliver, we'll let you kind of do
what you want.
Yeah, because Final Fantasy 15 was very much a financial, like, as much as it sucks as a fan to say this, but they needed to get it right from a financial perspective. They needed to have it work. Now it has, I think that there's going to be a lot more freedom afforded to people. Like the fact that they're making games like I Am Setsuna, and they've just hired is his name Hideo Baba?
Also,
the Tales guy?
Gadalar, just before I forget, he didn't actually do that. Like,
what?
A lot of the times, because he said that Tabata screwed over a lot of consumers over promised content. Most of the time when he announced any content, he was saying, we might be able to do this. That was where he saved himself.
Tabata,
we might be able to do this.
He
announced,
probably needs to get a bit of PR training in some senses. He's
but
just very honest.
There was magic. It didn't work like the other Final Fantasy games.
Well, we don't have any underwater
magic
sections.
Never worked. We don't have any underwater sections. We do have an airship, though, because you can actually fly the Regalia, which is where he said there. And then, like, dungeons, there were dungeons.
I mean, like, with the 100 hours of gameplay stuff, like, that stuff is always a load of BS. I mean, I remember when I interviewed, I think it was maybe Guitarze about the original Dissidia game.
Unprofessional.
The original Dissidia game, they said, and technically it is true, they told me that the game would last a lifetime. Because you can just carry on playing it as long as you want to. It doesn't matter if you're playing the story anymore. You can just carry on playing it. It's there if you want it. So technically, they were telling the truth. Like, they said, a World of Final Fantasy was going to be an experience that lasted like 100 hours. It's like, well, yeah, if you just want to play it again, or you want to do this other stuff, you want to level, you want to grind, like, of course. I mean, there are people that have put more than 100 hours into Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, I know.
So
there are people who went to level 99 in the free. I mean, granted, how many of those people actually cheated or actually did it? But there are some people who went up to level 99 in the freaking episode Dusky demo. Like,
I think the thing that annoyed me about what Tabata said was that sometimes he was very coy about stuff, being like, oh yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. But other times he was just like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
Moogles, no.
Like, I never really understood how sometimes, like, with the Stella and the Luna thing, he was just like, no, this is the thing we're doing. And with Cindy as well, like, we're not changing her dress. You guys can all do one, basically. But with Moogles, he's just like, oh, well, I know that Nomura announced Moogles.
At first he was like, no.
Well, no, he was like, Nomura announced Moogles, but we don't want them in the game. They don't work with what we're trying to do, blah, 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 blah. Outcry, it's like, well, okay, well, we'll try and get them in. And then it just became this whole stupid thing. But
I know.
like I think part of the problem was that because they were still trying to feel their way, they wanted to do surveys and they wanted to do all this, and they kind of wanted a bit of guidance on what to do, which obviously, as we've said
You guys
numerous
are
times,
crazy
it's not the
episode.
things.
Dust guy, I can't believe that.
It wasn't really the way to go, from in my opinion. It was like, you guys are the creators, you guys are the ones that are being paid God knows how much to make this game. You don't really need to listen to us to tell you what to put in it.
Yeah.
Like, and we always point to the fact that Final Fantasy XIII didn't have Moogles in it, and Toriyama said zip. I don't think he ever talked about the fact they weren't going to be in the game, and that's the key. He didn't talk about the fact they weren't going to be in it, so people weren't expecting them not to be in it. And when they came out and they weren't in it and no one noticed, no one cared.
No.
Like, and that's the like when he said, oh yeah, Gilgamesh isn't going to be in the game. Well, he is, just not in the main game. But why say those kind of things? Why say stuff that's going to antagonize unnecessarily? That's what I never got.
Yeah, I know. Poor Tabata. He just couldn't catch a break. He just was thinking to himself, "Oh, this isn't a big deal," and then all of a sudden, whoa, oh god, okay.
He said there were so many times, and Nomura's actually starting to do a bit more recently, actually, where they've basically said something like there was the thing where he said like, "Oh, it's our personal goal is for the game to sell 10 million copies," and then everyone's like, "Oh, the Final Fantasy 15 needs to sell 10 million copies. Oh my god, they've put themselves in such a financial mess here."
I know.
Like, and then he's like, "No, that's not what I meant." Like, there must have been so many times where he's just said stuff and then just gone, "Oh, why did I say that?"
I know. Oh god, why are they twisting it?
But yeah, that's the world he lives in.
I know. It's like really, Tabata and Nomura can both learn from each other because Nomura never speaks and Tabata speaks too much. So if they could just meet in the middle, then they'd be perfect. They'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Bless them.
How many people we got in now? 113 of you guys. It's crazy.
Welcome.
We should probably start rounding things out.
Yeah, we have
Lauren.
to round things out because we really have to go to
So
bed.
a couple of things. There is a Final Fantasy group for Final Fantasy Union. If you guys want to check it out, Lauren's going to put it in the chat for you guys right now.
Sorry.
The Facebook group.
Oh, the Facebook group. Yeah, I'll put it in right now.
Feel free to come on there. Like, we are going to talk more about upcoming videos that we're working on, just cool stuff, and it's just a place where you guys can chill out, have fun conversations, and just interact with us and other fans, really.
Yeah.
So feel free to join. It's publicly open. Just take part, have fun.
Yeah.
We're working on a couple of other things at the moment. I'm going to try and remember what they are. Basically, the way, because we don't have a lot of time, we have a plan that we want to work with, but then everything just keeps getting shifted, and some things take longer than we like. So, for example, last week we said the Luna video is going to be out on Saturday and Sunday. It ended up not being out on either of those days because life happens.
I worked so hard.
And then nobody watched it.
No.
But yeah, so we've got a video coming out, I think hopefully tomorrow, about Prompto. It's not like a big story review like I've done for the other characters, although he probably would be a good one to do. Not that I'm committing to anything. But we've got a video coming out about like a part of Prompto's story that I feel like there are a lot of people. Well, there are people when they see it will just be like, "Oh, obviously that like that's so obvious, so blatant." But like when Laura and I played the game, we didn't notice. Now that probably means we're stupid. But there's actually there's two key scenes that mean that you know what like happens, but we didn't get them. So yeah, that kind of changed things for us when we found that out. Found out a while ago, but we've been trying to we're making the videos now basically. What else are we working on? I'm gonna kind of be doing a video about probably some post-mortem stuff. Final Fantasy 15's been out for 6 months now, so it's just kind of like seeing how things have gone. We've got some stuff coming out for the Zodiac Age about kind of differences between the Zodiac Age and the original game, and also this Zodiac Age, the Zodiac Age and the International Zodiac Jolt system, because there are some changes between those two variations too. What else are we working on?
So much stuff.
Well, there's a picture of Steiner that I put up. We are working on a very interesting video about Steiner from Final Fantasy IX. I know most of the stuff we've been doing has been very current and recent with regards to Final Fantasy 15 or Type 0 or Tabata or whatever, but We're working on a video with Chris, who's the guy that did the Final Fantasy Sins and Triumphs, to do a video about Steiner. It's going to be very interesting. We'll see how it goes. So we've got a couple of things in the works, basically.
Yeah.
Also, I think we're approaching 25,000 subscribers now. We're going to be doing another giveaway when we hit 25,000 subscribers, which hopefully will be in a week or two.
Unfortunately, Paradox called Dragon? Is that how? Paradoxical Dragon.
There we
Paradoxical Dragon. I got it. Yeah, we were playing Final Fantasy XIV, but unfortunately, with Baby, it's like near impossible to fit in everything. So
yeah, we played Final Fantasy XIV before Ali was born.
love it. I love Final Fantasy 15. If you have the time and the money to play it, go play it. But honestly, we just do not have the time to play it. I do love it though.
Maybe one day.
I got asked about it today, actually.
One day we'll get back into it.
People were just like, "What's Pumpkin Patch?" And I was just like, "That's our old name." You can't play it anymore. We were Lalafells.
Yeah.
We were the Patch family, but the
Patch
family
family
have now been deceased. They've gone into the abyss.
But yeah, what was I saying? I was going to say we've got a giveaway coming up soon. Feel free to just join us on Patreon, support us on Patreon.
Yay!
So you get entry into the giveaway. We're going to be, I think we're going to be giving away a play arts for this one. But yeah, like if you enjoy what we do and you want to help us kind of grow, Lauren gives away badges. You can ask us, you can give us kind of suggestions for video topics. But yeah, like if you guys want to support us, then feel free.
If Michael Bay directed the next Final Fantasy game, the summons would explode.
Everything would explode. There'll be lots of explosions. And reused assets.
Yeah.
Which is what they do all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Just Mobius.
And Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, that's been the longest ever outro. So thanks for everyone for joining. This has been probably the first proper FF chat we've done since we came back. It was great that so many people joined.
Again, I don't hate Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
No, you don't.
I don't hate it. I just have a lot of feelings.
Thank you for subscribing.
But yes, thank you.
Yes, we'll see you guys next week, same time, 9 o'clock GMT, which I believe is 4 o'clock Eastern, and 1 o'clock Pacific, maybe. Yeah, we'll see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.